Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is the week in review. You know how we do this show now. We talk wrestling, then we talk politics, and then we talk pop culture. In the month of Halloween, we've been watching quite a few scary movies. We'll get to that a bit later, but just to get right in to the wrestling discourse, I did watch Halloween Havoc tonight. I watched more of it than I thought I would. At first, I thought I would just watch Tatum's match against JC Jane. I ended up more or less watching the whole show. And yeah, I think a lot of smart booking decisions were made. I'm expecting Trick Williams to get called up. Happy that Dark State have regained the titles. They never should have lost them in the first place. And I really don't want to see Jeff or Matt Hardy work anymore. That swanton off the ladder through a table with nobody on it made me wince because I'm thinking, how far is that going to push or challenge Jeff mentally to try and stay clean or whatever? That dude's body has got to be in pain all the time. And yes, of course, not to bury the lead, Tatum Paxley, the new NXT Women's Champion, after a unique finish, looked like Izzy was going to hit Tatum with the title. Ended up eating an encore, the rolling kind of forearm there from JC Jane. And then Tatum got her finisher, which I forget the name of it, admittedly. But yeah, she got the 3 count off of that. Tatum actually won the title, and we know Bird Models on Raw Monday are going to challenge for the women's tag titles. I wonder what's going to happen there. Ashton, how do we feel about Tatum as the new NXT Women's Champion?
Very happy for her. I love that she got this. I do wish that it was handled better because this feels very out of nowhere, very sudden. And I like my champions to feel worthy of the title before winning them. And I love Tatum as a performer, but it feels like NXT has actively worked to push her and discredit her over the course of this calendar year. I still remember how awful that match was where she was trying to get into the Iron Survivor Challenge against Lola Vice, and the commentary was just building up Lola Vice the entire time and completely ignoring Tatum. And the match felt an awful lot like Tatum was the heel, and then Lola just won. I really hated that, and that has really stuck in my craw, and that was a big reason why I didn't think Tatum was winning here tonight. But I am very happy for her that she won. I'm a little bit worried about her relationship with Izzy Dame and therefore her relationship with Lyra because you mentioned that she and Lyra were going to be challenging for the tag titles on Monday. I would not be surprised at all if Izzy did something where she went after Lyra, therefore costing Tatum the match, and Tatum gets upset with her, and Izzy tries to claim that she was doing it for her and that she doesn't trust Lyra, and then we have a whole drama just spiraling out of this. But for now, it is cool that Tatum got this nod. I honestly wouldn't be surprised at all if Izzy was the next NXT Women's Champion.
I just need to cut in very quickly before I expound upon that last thing you
Oh, I was
said.
done.
It is.
You're not cutting anything, man.
No, it was Bailey and Lyra that are going to be challenging this Monday, not Lyra and Tatum. Um, but Bailey and Lyra have got their own weird thing on Raw with what's going on with Bailey. Like
yeah, the
what
weird
personality is going to show up?
personality. Yeah,
Yes, yes. But as far as that last point, that's actually what I'm expecting. I don't want to crap on, the Tatum fandom, of which I am a proud part. I was going to call us tater tots, but I know Fatal Influence used that as an insult, so I don't know if we can take the word back or what's going on there.
I
But yeah,
personally I love tater tots.
well, yes, I don't want to insult any of us tater tots, but I actually do think that even this Tuesday we could see a title change because I could see Izzy kind of manipulating Tatum, like, oh, we're best friends, aren't we? And I did help you win this championship, so it's only fair that I get the first shot at it. And then Izzy wins, and then you kind of do the very, very tenuously kind of related to when Randy Orton was excommunicated from Revolution. They just kicked Tatum out because Izzy got in Nico and Spears' ear, like, Tatum's ruining us. She's making it all about her. I'll take the title back to the culling, and then it can just be the three of us again. So yeah, I'm even expecting this Tuesday. I don't think Tatum's going to be a long-term champ at all. I would prefer she keep it, preferably forever, and her and Lyra winning all the titles together. But unfortunately, this is the real world, and I'm coming off of the unicorn dust. So I say this Tuesday, we shall see. Speaking of women, also a rough night for Sol Ruka, losing the NXT Women's North American Championship to Blake Monroe, but it wasn't exactly her that lost it. Now, was it? It was her substitute, Zarya. And man, did her dome eat fucking pavement. I mean, first on the floor, the double arm DDT, and then again in the ring. Good night.
Oh, is
Holy.
Blake still using like the French kiss style DDT to win matches?
Yeah, except I feel like with Maurice, it was more of like just a snap standard DDT, whereas here you can clearly see the double arm underhook action from
Nice.
Blake Monroe.
Very
But
cool. I love
yeah,
the update on that move.
I know we love Blake Monroe. You and I have been a fan of hers for a long time. Finally, she's got championship gold. I hope this is where the ship kind of gets righted and she can really show her amazing promo chops and everything
I
else.
just
Or
really want her to get away from Jordan Grace because I feel like everything Jordan Grace touches turns to, I don't want to say shit, but like people stop caring about it. People stop caring about anything Jordan Grace related. And when I say people, I don't mean everyone, obviously. I just mean the NXT audience specifically does not react to Jordan at all.
yes, yes, I would
It's like they
agree.
react to her music because it's like this like exciting like siren sound, and
Yes,
then they realize it's Jordan Grace and get real quiet real fast.
yes. Um, Outside of the women, I gotta tell you, there's really nothing I care to talk about from Halloween Havoc. I mean, again, fine results and everything. If there's anything else you want to say about the show, I'm good to pass on it.
I need to let you know, I did not intentionally watch any pro wrestling this week, which means that I did not watch any pro wrestling that was not SmackDown this week because my mom still watches Raw and SmackDown. But thankfully, because Raw is on Netflix, she watches that on her computer. But because we need to use the VPN for SmackDown, that goes on the TV. So the only wrestling that I was personally exposed to this week was SmackDown, and boy, did it suck ass.
It seemed like it did. The nose really got up in that sphincter.
Dude,
Is there anything? Yeah.
I've realized, and this week was really like the turning point that made me like, holy shit. Um, Cody Rhodes puts me in a horrible mood. He is the worst. I cannot stand this man. I mean,
Yes.
you and I have ranted on Cody Rhodes several times throughout the history of this show, but I
Yes.
just really need to drive it home. He is one of the worst parts of the entire product to me right now. And I say right now, but like historically, since returning from AEW, Cody, and even in AEW, Cody has been the worst part of whatever product he's on, or one of the worst parts of whatever product he's on for the last like almost decade at this point. Because this even goes all the way back to like New Japan and Ring of Honor when he was there.
Yeah. No, I agree. Listen,
The
when Drew
last
laid
time
him
that I
out,
would not say Cody was one of the worst parts of the product was when he was Stardust.
pop. But yeah, I would agree. Listen, when Drew laid him out with that Claymore, I popped. Right. I'm rooting for Drew at Saturday Night's main event. But when do big title changes ever really happen on that show?
Never.
Unfortunately, looking at Kevin Owens when he should have won the title that night, but it's like, no, it's Cody protecting the Winged Eagle title. Fuck you. So yeah, I definitely agree, good sir. It is rough out here. So yeah, that was that. Really, what else from SmackDown? Because I feel like I saw something from SmackDown that I wanted to go. Oh yeah, Jade Cargill's heel turn. That was the big thing.
Oh my
Wow.
god. Fucking Tiffany had a promo before Jade turned on her.
Yeah.
She's as bad as Cody on the mic. It's awful.
I bet. I bet. Doesn't sound fun. Doesn't sound fun. I literally was losing his mind. I said Jade Cargill killed her, and he's like, "What? In this house?" Yeah, yeah. She's a villain now, bro. And I don't know. Fans are into it right now. I don't fucking know. I talk about this shit, and I'm like, man, I still watch pro wrestling. What the fuck? What are you doing? So yeah, that happened, and then on Raw, you had Maxine Dupree, who I will admit I feel like has gotten a bit better. Once again, take Becky to the limit, which I know Mark Schoeneman I don't think was happy about that. He's like that kind of ruins my immersion. I thought they had one really good spot in the match at one point, and that was when Becky kind of had a cross arm breaker, and Maxine flips over and grabs the ankle and does an ankle lock, and it looked pretty freaking smooth, in my opinion at least. So I'll give Maxine her flowers where they're due.
There
It's just,
is a
yeah,
point in history, and I hope that that point has not just fully ended, although it might have by now.
yeah,
There was a point in history that Maxine Dupree is world championship material. And
Yes.
I say that genuine and sincere. I do think her look alone is marketable enough to justify being a world champion, but the fact that she is getting better so consistently over time, I definitely think that there should be room for her to be a women's champion. I would say within the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I could absolutely agree with that. You know what I can't agree with? Us keeping now listen, he got to it in a hilarious way. I'll give him his props, but
Oh no.
keeping Jey Uso in the title picture.
Oh.
You know, we're doing Jey versus
Oh, the
CM
battle
Punk.
royal on Monday, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now,
Yeah, I heard
granted,
about that.
he eliminated Jimmy Uso, which was fucking hilarious. But you know, it's like it's him, it's Punk, and it's not really a match that I could get behind. But then you think, what would the alternative have been, John? LA Knight? Fuck him.
You know what? I'm gonna be
So
so real. LA Knight at this point would be a more interesting challenger for the world title than Jey Uso is.
and you know what? The idea that there is even an argument to be had there, thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, Jey
So
is just
yeah,
that worn out to me. Like he's so repetitive, redundant, overdone.
he
And I don't
needs
mean over in the good way. I mean I'm over it, and so is the crowd.
yeah. Yeah, I think it really has gone to a point, and some may argue he never left it, but I'm not really interested in that debate, where I feel like the entrance really is the most over part about him. You know, and I mean, God, as much as I hate to admit it, I try and be objective when possible on the show, but I mean, sometimes it's a really big ask. I even feel like Jimmy might even be outperforming him a bit because he is a babyface that genuinely struggles, and his promo game really isn't bad. So I don't
Jimmy is
know.
definitely a better promo than Jey, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's really looking that way. You know, in this man's opinion. God, that really hurt to say all of that. So yeah, we're doing Jay, we're doing Punk, and Jimmy kind of glared from the outside, which again, hilarious. Yeah, Saturday night's main event. I continue to just not care about it. It's really funny that WWE has some really great talents, but even that, I just feel like the booking and the structure and everything is just like, it's just all kind of there to me. So yeah, that's essentially wrestling for me because you said like, yeah, Spendo was the only thing, and that's because your mom had it on. Um, so yeah, I guess then if wrestling's already done, we can get on to politics. Oh boy. So
Oh boy.
let's start with the good, shall we? Because your boy is kind of floating right now. So if I'm not all together, I apologize. Let's start with the positive that 7 million people participated in the No Kings protest.
Wasn't it
Um,
around five for the first one?
yeah, yeah. So a growth of 2 million. You look
Thirty
at
percent makes it sound like a bigger number.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And yeah, so beyond that, data has come out about Trump, and while his approval remains pretty firm at 37%, I mean, what a rousing number that even is, his disapproval apparently has gone up. So, more and more. And now here's the thing, folks, and this is the scary thing. And I actually do want to plug a site when I'm done talking about this, because this is very serious. Snap is more than likely not going out next month. And you are talking that is millions and millions of Americans, a lot of them Republicans, I might add,
Yep.
who use food stamps. And in fact, the whole racial stereotype, which was debunked years ago, that EBT is like a black person thing, studies found more white people use EBT than black people do. And regardless, it doesn't matter because it's a class issue fundamentally. It's people that struggle to pay for groceries that have to take out loans, for God's sakes, to pay for groceries. This is the level of inequality that we're at. I've told family twice now, not even being like hyperbolic, oh, let's do a communism John thing, that this is the wealth inequality that made the French Revolution. This is the wealth inequality that made massive social upheaval. How anybody thinks that this is tenable or sustainable, I got a bridge to sell you. I'll tell you what.
Oh, so Stephen Miller would love that bridge, pal.
Oh, you fucking know it. And speaking of him, he continues to just out overtly fascist and authoritarian shit, wanting to arrest Chicago governor or Illinois governor, excuse me, Illinois governor, JB
Pritzker.
Pritzker,
Yeah.
um, who I will say I hate politicians with a passion, and I've been disappointed so many fucking times. But if I had to throw my weight beyond anybody, because I already voted for Kamala, which to me just sold out my principles because the Democratic Party just said genocide's okay. And we had to say it was okay because fascism here at home just seemed worse, understandably so, looking at the fucking scale of it. But yeah, JB Pritzker, I think he would get my vote pretty easily if he was the candidate. I like
It's
how he's
so weird
handled.
that he's a billionaire and a politician at the same time, and yet he's speaking more truth to power than, I don't know, the entire Democratic Party.
Yes, yes. And to kind of stay on a different track, because I know I usually talk about events, of which there are many, make no mistake. I think the most concerning one, again, is Snap, which, oh yeah, I did say I wanted to plug a website. You could go to findhelp.org. That is FINDHELP.org. You put in
Hashtag
your
not
zip code.
sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored. Thank you. But I'm plugging that because, again, Snap is more than likely not going to go out in November. I don't know how many of our audience members use Snap. I know I do, right? I've already talked to my family about, like, should we worry if benefits don't go out? My family, thankfully, not seem to be sweating it too much, but every little bit helps, right? And so a lot of people are going to go without that. And Find Help, if you put in your zip code, will connect you with your nearest mutual aid network. They'll talk about food pantries and a bunch of other stuff that you may need as the government continues, the administrative state just continues to just completely disintegrate. So just go to findhelp.org and see if that helps you or somebody out. Pay it forward, pass it on. Um, Beyond that, what is exciting to me, and the other big news, by the way, is we keep striking, Venezuelan fishing boats. We're straight up murdering people with the power of the state. And this is all to antagonize a war with Venezuela for what? Well, resource extraction, aka imperialism. We want that oil, we want that petroleum. But then also, of course, if you look at any US Latin American history, regime change. They do not favor the Maduro government, and this is not an endorsement of the Maduro government, but I would say that a Maduro government has got to be preferable than a government that installs a US puppet president that serves US interests against Venezuelans. No war in Venezuela, solidarity to Venezuelans, fuck the US war imperialist machine up. So that's the other big thing because war may very well be coming. I mean, this is an unhinged administration of which Trump I don't even think is governing. It's a tandem government between Miller and Vogt, and everybody else can get fucked.
Hmm.
Um, and there you go.
This
But
is so much worse than when the Bush administration was literally just a front for Dick Cheney to do whatever he wanted.
exactly. Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. I mean, yes, they all belong in the fucking Hague, but yes. So that leads to the final really kind of optimistic thing. So I want to take a different angle with politics this week, especially how I just ranted in news recaps last week, which I apologize, but they're flooding the zone, and this is fascism, and that's what happens. I am noticing, finally, I'm not going to overestimate or hyperbolize, it is a very minuscule start, but still something perceptible of elevated class consciousness in certain pockets of the liberal voting base specifically. The establishment, I will tell you folks something. I have my suspicions about Mamdani. I have my suspicions about everybody, right? But I have said we should all support the Mamdani campaign, if for no other reason, because it signals that the Overton window may finally be going left because people are seeing in real time how far right austerity politics fucking sucks, which we all knew, but apparently a lot of people needed the empiricist data to really come to the same conclusion. So there you go. And so we're seeing that shift because they're trying to cook Mamdani. He's beating Cuomo right now by double digits. It might be an election too big to rig because I know Trump has threatened, to withhold federal funds, and now apparently they're looking into denaturalizing Mamdani and deporting him. Which why go into that effort for a guy that you feel like is so terrible for New York, right? That was just going to get smoked out by a Cuomo dynasty,
Yeah.
even though the guy's a piece of shit. He killed senior citizens during COVID with how he handled nursing homes and lockdowns, and his face looks like ravioli molded on the counter after a week. So Mamdani is just kind of whooping this man's ass, and nobody can really do anything about it. And all the messaging of, oh, it's socialism or whatever. Did you ever consider maybe that the past several decades people have, again, empirically, sensibly lived under capitalism, have felt the effects of hunger, of cold, of anxiety, of job insecurity, of everything, right? This is the chance for left wing populism. I think this is the biggest chance we've had for left wing populism since COVID, when COVID changed the material conditions of a lot of people working from home and everything else, and people liked it. And they were like, oh shit, the world doesn't have to be like this, which is why when Biden got in office, he wanted to return things to normal, quote unquote, as soon as possible. because people were starting to figure shit out, and you can't have that happen. So I think, we're seeing a recursion of that. We're seeing people waking up and being like, it doesn't have to be this way. I want to go further left than even what establishment Dems are offering, which why wouldn't you? Hakeem Jeffries literally said this week when asked, why haven't you endorsed Zoran? And he said, I haven't not endorsed. I just haven't articulated a position. Which, what?
What is the difference?
Yeah, what does that
You're
even mean?
literally just saying I've taken no action twice. It's a tautology.
Yeah, yeah. So ta your ass. Because we really don't need that in Dem leadership, and we need, And look, I will always say, look, Democrats are not a real opposition party. Again, especially at the high establishment level, like Nancy Pelosi is not part of an opposition party. Okay, but because I have to accept that human beings are only capable of incrementalism and seemingly nothing else, candidates like Mamdani are our best bet. You look at Graham Plattner running for Senate in Maine. He had Reddit posts back in 2021 that was like, oh, an armed working class is the only way to defeat fascism. All cops are pigs, everything else. They tried to use this. See, bubbles like the New York Times and other like really major liberal spheres, they're still stuck in the fucking 90s where they think stuff like that is a death sentence. New York Times tried to run a big editorial board piece, which is like those really big essays that they do, talking about how, oh, we don't need progressives, moderates and centrists win elections, when it's constantly proven that that's not the case. People are tired of fucking centrism, and no cherry picked data is going to change that. That's why we're seeing right wing populism, even though there's no populism in it. It's oligarchy. It's taking all the wealth for themselves. But, that's why right wing populist sentiments, I'll say, are prevailing right now. But left wing populist sentiments are just objectively better for quality of life and standard of living. And if we get people that can reflect that, that'll continue to move things further forward. And yeah, Graham Plattner is beating Collins for Maine senator by double fucking digits. He's even outperforming her with old people. Old people. You're fucking cooked. So this ultimately is what I'm getting at. Even though we're still trying to use politicians as conduits for our general will, which I'm thinking is just increasingly becoming a problem, if I'm brutally honest, those sentiments themselves are changing. They're saying, go out and do progressive shit. Go out and fight for universal health care. Go out and fight for climate protection, which gets scarier and scarier with every new scientific report that comes out. And I've been saying we should forget about beating any kind of threshold and just start acting like we've crossed them and building climate resilient infrastructure. Obviously, we're not going to fucking do that, not under this regime at least. So yeah, people are wanting more. People are wanting better for their lives because this shit is getting fucking sick. Again, SNAP not going out next month. People over time, over the next 4 years, 17 million people getting off Medicaid. And even people getting cut off or having a work requirement put on them for SNAP benefits. They are destroying the social safety net because they want poor people to either be completely dispossessed or just die, if we're being frank about it. And then the 0.001% own fucking everything. Everything. That is the ultimate goal. Government for them is nothing but one huge grift, but people are waking up to it. Now, if that SNAP doesn't go out and you got a lot of hungry people, they may finally get the riots they wanted, and that may lead to the Insurrection Act. I don't know. I feel like this is a major class provocation from above to down below. And I don't know, this might radicalize people even further because the last piece of data I saw when we talk about midterms is that when it came to identification of party, Democrats were +7 over Republicans. And that's a fucking huge gap, right? So the midterms might even be too big to rig because far right austerity politics fucking sucks that bad. But we know that we've got the Voting Rights Act case at the Supreme Court that certain states are trying to really gerrymander even more heavily in their favor. Red states, and I know Gavin Newsom has said to kind of counter that they want to gerrymander too, which I think is going to lead to problems long term. But yeah, things are wild out here. But we, the people, definitely going further left populist, it seems, slowly by the day as we see more and more the reality of far right politics. So that's really all I had to say for politics this week. Is there anything you wanted to add or comment on with everything I said there?
Nope.
Nope. Excellent. So let's move on to pop culture. We'll start with the most recent stuff. We watched Sweeney Todd last night and The Ring. That was our
Yeah.
double feature. Um, yeah, Sweeney Todd, Mrs. Lovett in the Fire. Pop. It was good. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. good songs, and yeah, I don't know why people don't ask questions, when they're about to get their throat slit as their barber is just singing while you just have shaving cream dripping off your face, only to finally make a sound when again that throat is
Listen,
being
man,
slit.
no one has time for questions when you're singing about pretty women.
I, how nobody chimed in with, so we're still doing this, right? Like, amazing, amazing. So yeah, that movie was good. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I stand by it because it's not often a movie gives me every death on my wish list, but this one did.
Nice.
And then The Ring, which I wanted to love so much, and I thought had this like beautiful premise of these parents that might have been fundamentalist or crazy or just plain awful, killing and putting through the ringer, ringer, um, their daughter, and then her spirit finally being at rest because somebody saw that she was the victim, saw that she was abused, and wanted to free her. No, 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 the movie tells us she was a malevolent little shit the whole fucking time. So yeah, solid enough movie. Some of the effects I'm like, okay, but I think it had a strong story up until the last 20 minutes, and then I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel about that, about the two
About
movies we watched last night?
I enjoyed both of them to certain degrees. I did enjoy Sweeney Todd a little more. Thought they were both solid. Tell you what, though, I think my favorite movie that we watched this week was The Lost Bus.
You want to talk about tension? You know what, brother? I want you to give your full thoughts on this movie before I chime in. So,
Well,
because
the
you were
thing is,
feeling
it
this
is
movie.
it is based on a true story. It's based on the 2018 Campfire, I think it's called. Am I right about that? Campfire?
Yeah, yeah, the 2018 campfire in Paradise, California, right?
Yeah, yeah. The 2018 California wildfires, and Campfire is the name that they gave to the specific fire that this movie was about. Matthew McConaughey plays a bus driver. I believe his name was Kevin McKay. Yeah, Kevin McKay, I want to say. And he just lives like really sort of the true definition of a blue collar life. He's a bus driver. He has normal, like blue collar stressors, a son who resents him, a mom who is struggling with some kind of dementia or Alzheimer's, a wife who, oh yeah, ex-wife, thank you, mom, an ex-wife who he is separated from and I believe is about to get married to a new man, and a job that will not stop kicking him in the balls, and just constantly like it's weird how his job gave very similar vibes purely in terms of levels of stress to me as like the office jobs in the movie Office Space, where it's like you make one little mistake and you have to hear about it all fucking day, and you have so many people breathing down your neck trying to make sure that you do things a certain way. And then in this case, it's even worse because you have the added stress of literally having child's lives in your hands, right? And then these wildfires break out, and I loved the way that they really portrayed just the stress of his day even before the wildfire thing started, because it was like he is trying to get back to base, I guess it would be considered, and he gets two, three, maybe even four calls on his way back telling him about how he needs to get this maintenance done because the maintenance guy is there and waiting for him. And he's got traffic, he's got to fuel up. Uh, at a certain point, he just decides, fuck it, I'm going to go home because my son is sick. He goes to the pharmacy, asks the pharmacist what he can do for his son who is vomiting and feverish. She gives him fucking Tylenol, which blows my mind. I'm like, what are you talking about Tylenol? Where's the Robitussin? You know what I mean? And then he gets that on his way to back to base, and there's a certain point where he realizes that he's failing his son, and he needs to get back home to give his son this medicine and make sure that they are able to get out in time for the fire. And on his way back home to his son, he hears this call over the comms saying, hey, we need someone in this specific area to pick up 22 or 23 kids at this Paradise Elementary School. And he is the only one in the area who has got an empty bus that's able to do this. And so he then abandons his mission to get the Tylenol back to his son in order to go save these kids. He goes into this fucking classroom. Their teacher is so up her own ass. I could not stand her at first because he was like, listen, we should kind of get a move on here. We should probably be in a little bit of a rush. And she was so insistent on like, no, we need to keep the kids calm. The kids need to be able to take their time. And she was even like actively telling the kids to take your time when they were single file getting on the bus. And if they would have left literally like 30 seconds earlier, they would have probably beaten a lot more traffic and everything would have been easier. But no, they ended up on this literal drive from hell through hell. I literally said several times throughout the movie that it looks like this is like what they were driving through is what I imagined biblical hell would be like when I was a kid, imagining that kind of thing. When I was like 8 years old and my mom came home from work saying they're gonna fire me, I imagined them driving through that kind of shit. Um, they're driving through this absolute hellscape. At a certain point, they come across people walking away from the direction that they were heading, and they're like, "What the hell? What's going on? Why are you coming this way?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, you don't want to go that way. You don't want those kids to see what is in the direction we just came from." And so they literally just sit. They literally just sit there, and he goes out and he sees that they're surrounded by this fire. They try and put out fires by smothering some, and they have fire extinguisher that they use on some. There was a point even prior to that where the teacher woman goes into, I believe it was a trailer park of some kind, and manages to find a case of waters to bring back to the kids. Like, the level of stress that this movie is able to induce legitimately is on par with the most stressful episodes of The Bear, which is a show that is literally predicated on stressing out its audience.
I completely agree. I thought McConaughey, that was one of the best performances I've seen him in.
Yeah,
I don't think I've enjoyed him that much personally since season one of True Detective, because I think that is just masterpiece television. His portrayal of Kevin, I mean, Kevin has been through some shit.
yeah,
I felt for him the whole movie, because here's the thing that I really liked about the character: he eats so much shit, right? Like you already walked through it. We know his life is hell, but that's never a pretext for him to be a dick. Like that's what makes him so sympathetic, is like this dude could lash out at every opportunity, but every time he even seems like he's a bit on the agitated side, you get it. You get it completely. Cause like this dude has got just a house of cards for a life, and now he's gonna navigate a whole ass wildfire. Unbelievable. I really like America Ferrera. I really grew fond of her in Superstore with her portrayal of the character Amy.
nice.
Um, Great sitcom. I recommend anybody watch it if they've never seen it. So seeing her in this, which is a more dramatic role, I thought she did great. I defended her at first. She definitely made some calls. Like I know when she first showed Kevin the map, and she's like, "Oh, but this is the plan. We're gonna stick with the plan." When he tried to tell her like how they should go about this, I'm like, "Okay, that's out of pocket." Like he's the professional driver here. What are you doing? But yeah, other than that, I mean, the fire was kind of a third character in its own way, and God was it
Yeah,
menacing. Some of those
that was my
shots were.
least favorite part of the movie, personally. The part of the movie, the one and only part of the movie that I actively did not care for was the fire perspective shots, where it was like, where we were like seeing almost like through the eyes, quote unquote, metaphorical eyes of the fire, like kind of raging through the forest and stuff. I didn't like that. That felt too much like they were trying to make it feel like a slasher film where you're seeing from the eyes of the killer. I just did not care for that at all.
Yeah, I enjoyed it well enough. I didn't need it, right? But I appreciated it for what it was.
It's funny
Really,
because
where I
I
thought,
hated it,
yeah,
my mom loved it, and you're ambivalent towards it. We literally represent all three of the possible reactions anyone could have to it.
there you go, there you go. But really, I think what this movie really landed and really succeeded for me was the ending. And that's not to say like, oh, I'm glad it's over. But no, they let the devastation speak for itself. It is just silence with only a musical accompaniment, which even then, I even wonder if this scene would have been better without music. Just imagine, like the rustling of the wind, you hear the footsteps of the sun, like all of that just saturating the scene. But we do have a score in the background. But yeah, it's no dialogue. And then he finds that the son does come back after he thought he evacuated his mom, like really far away from him, and he's kind of looking at a charred picture of him and his son when he was a baby. But yeah, then the son comes out of the mom's car, walks to him and hugs him, and it's just that embrace and like kind of a zoom out shot, like a wide shot of just all the destruction and everything, and those two hugging in the middle of the rubble and everything. And I thought that was a beautiful ending. Yeah, I think as far as like disaster type movies where we know the disaster is even kind of fetishized a bit, like because that is the attraction of the movie. Like, oh, watch this city get destroyed or whatever. This is a disaster movie in the realest and most visceral sense of that idea, and I think it does it quite well. So, big thumbs up there.
My
I know we
mom and I
continue.
watched
Yeah.
The Black Phone.
Yes, please talk about that because I know you both seem to really enjoy that movie.
Yeah, we watched that last Sunday actually after football was over. It was really, really good though. Definitely nowhere close to what I was expecting because I think that I more expected like a almost like a traditional, like maybe not traditional, but I think I expected more of like a like serial killer story where we would see all these kills and stuff like the old uh, slasher type films almost. There was literally the only amount of any kind of gore that you would see was on the kids. And I guess this is a spoiler, actually. I should say this is a spoiler. So if you intend to watch The Black Phone and haven't yet, you should probably mute for a minute or so right now. Three, two, one. So the kids that are already dead and coming back to talk to Finney, a lot of them have signs of what was done to them. So like one of them has their throat slit, one of them has blood coming out of their head. Like they almost all have obvious signs of how they died as ghosts, and that is the only gore in the entire movie. And it is definitely gross. And the one where the I think it was the second or third one that was like floating upside down in the air, that jump scare got both my mom and I. That was a good one. And then there was another I think the literal first time that one of the dead kids actually showed up on screen caught both of us as well. So those I think were the only two like really major jump scares that got us. But honestly, the way that the movie was structured was really beautiful. They got two fantastic child actors, especially the little girl who plays Gwen was a fucking revelation. Oh my god. The scene where her dad is spanking her with the belt, the acting from that little girl was unfucking believable.
Yeah.
That was
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen a child actor or actress act that fucking well. Um, but she was great. The kid that played Finney was really good. He low key he reminded me of someone who could have fit in very well in the Stranger Things universe for sure. He kind of has that similar vibe to like Mike and Will and stuff like that. Um, I love the story of like the overarching story of him learning to stand up for himself, and like the way that like at the very beginning of the movie you see him at the baseball game, and the girl that he has a crush on just kind of turns around and walks away after he gives up a run or gives up a hit, I guess I should say, to end the game, I guess it was. And then by the end of the movie, she's like having a conversation with him about basically him being a fucking hero who killed the grabber, right? And then he's like, "Oh yeah, you can call me Finn," and it's like he's like he's got an in with his crush. It's awesome. I mean, there was even a point before he got kidnapped that she intentionally went out of her way to sit with him and be like, "Hey, you need a science partner," and this was right after the teacher said this will be your partner for the entire year. So like she was clearly already at least kind of into him. And then after the whole thing about the grabber, it's like, oh yeah, he's got it made in terms of like popularity and stuff because everyone's like staring and pointing and talking about, he's got this level of popularity and fame now. It comes with trauma for sure, but I don't know. Maybe a kid that age would say it's worth it. Um, but yeah, man, it was a fantastic movie, and I really can't wait to see the second one because we know that these kids have the ability to commune with the dead. Well, now their harasser is dead, and it's going to be pretty messed up, I would imagine. So very excited to watch the Black Phone 2. I'm hoping if you don't plan on watching that with your family, I would love for us to watch it together.
I'll love to see how that works out because, I know I did watch the first one with Christy, so she'll probably want to watch the second one with me. But if that doesn't happen after a certain point, then we can absolutely just watch it together.
Nice.
Because yeah, that second one I think looks absolutely insane. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to see how that goes.
So, would you like to
Um,
hear some of the other things that we watched this week?
sure.
So we finished the Alien movie universe. We watched the first two last week before our last weekly recap, and since then we've watched all of the rest of the solo Alien films. We didn't do any of the Alien versus Predator stuff, so we watched Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and Alien Romulus, and they were all okay except for 3. 3 was bad. 3 was pretty garbage, honestly. I thought Alien Resurrection was better than I expected it to be. It was better than like the critics and like the Rotten Tomatoes scores and stuff, in my opinion. You and I both love Prometheus. I think Covenant was both of our favorite though since the first one, or at least the first two. And
Yeah.
then I thought Romulus was really disappointing, really, really disappointing in terms of the writing of the movie.
Yeah, and I had higher hopes for it, and it didn't meet those. I thought it was okay. I
The
don't think
thing
it was
about
a
Romulus is that
definitive.
it's gorgeous to look at. It's shot
Yes.
incredibly well. The CGI is unbelievably good. The direction is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. In terms of all of those very basic filmmaking elements, it's amazing. And even the acting, I think, is pretty good. But the script and the way that characters act, specifically the decisions that characters make, is like 2 out of 10 bad.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, at least with Prometheus, like the arrogance and hubris of the scientists, to me, lent to some unintentional comedy. So I still had a great time with the movie, even when I'm like, why would you do that? With Romulus, there really aren't many laughs to be had. Really, and I feel like they had some unique ideas to me that maybe they didn't explore to their full potential. Like for me, I actually like the idea of an AI that isn't exactly like David from Prometheus or Covenant, and I
Yeah.
forget the name of the other AI before him in the first
Andy.
movie.
Oh,
Andy, yes.
Ash. You're talking about Ash in the
Ash,
first.
yes, Ash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ash is the one
Um,
that came back then in Alien Romulus.
yes, and Andy was just the original established kind of AI in that movie, or android, I guess would be a better term. But yeah, just playing with that concept of Andy having a very distinctive personality that's more precocious, more anxious. Um, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But I told you, I think my biggest criticism just based on the movie we got versus the movie I wanted. I told you like the philosopher man, the guy that likes to think about these types of questions. The questions posed in Prometheus, who is our maker? And then when they find out that the engineers did make them, like, oh, why do they hate us? Why did they change their mind? I found these to be fascinating questions, and I would have preferred a sequel that like goes on a voyage. And kind of tries to answer those questions, but we didn't do that at all. It was just a retread of a lot of basic concepts in the movies and tropes, like, oh, here's the chest burster, oh, now it's a xenomorph that you got to deal with, oh no, it's a shit ton of xenomorphs, and can you survive? And that's another thing. I want a more evolved alien. I want one capable of speech, and maybe even things that human beings aren't capable of, beyond the forked tongue thing where there's like a predator within the predator's or the fucking xenomorph's mouth or whatever the fuck. So yeah, it was okay. I wouldn't call it a bad movie by any means, and I know you're not either. But yeah, Covenant I think stands far and away my favorite, just because Michael Fassbender just really, really steals that movie for me. It really, and in Prometheus too, he's just such a great actor. But yeah, that's why that's kind of my favorite. Um, I know we did 2 more episodes of Platonic. I think we've watched 4 episodes now of season 2 of that show. That's been
Yeah.
pretty good.
Oh
That's
yeah,
yeah.
the big one though, we did finish Gen V this week. Gen V season 2 came to
Yes.
an end this week and it was awesome.
I'll tell you that finale was so needed because it was definitely, not to get into it. I don't want to get any spoilers for anybody that hasn't watched it yet, but it was the kind of hopeful, optimistic ending I think we're really all hungering for right now as things, continue to be as scary as they are.
Yeah, I don't think
Uh,
we've ever gotten that type of ending in the boys universe before.
no,
Because the
no.
boys seasons always end with the shit hitting the fan. And Gen V season 1 ended with the actual heroes getting rounded up and imprisoned, and the people who ended up being villains by the end, Sam and Kate, being lauded as heroes. That was like the ending of season one, and then we finally got our shit together for season two. It's nice to see.
Yeah, definitely,
Can I
definitely.
just say though, I think my biggest criticism of the finale was that they really went out of their way to write in that black hole character, the guy who can fit a bunch of stuff up his ass for no
Yeah,
fucking reason. Like, you really didn't need to smuggle all those people in through that guy's ass. You had Kate with her powers working, being able to just tell the security guard protecting the door to just let them through. You all could have gone through at that time. You didn't need Black Hole to store all those people up his ass.
yeah,
That felt like it had to be straight out of the comics, because I know the comics, the boys comics, do a lot of like gross out shit just for the sake of being gross. That's what that gave vibes of for sure.
yeah, yeah. Other than that, though, I really enjoyed the villain of Godolkin. You know, he was just so smarmy and smug, and had like a very strong eugenicist streak. And then the way that he was, kind of handled and put down, I thought was, delicious.
It
Uh,
almost reminds me of Death Note, though, the way that we had this version, this Cipher character that's this version of Godolkin portrayed by Hamish Linklater. I probably botched the name, but I loved his portrayal of Cipher in the show. His
yes,
his charisma and his aura were fucking peak. And then the last two episodes, the villain is just this fucking goofy looking ginger guy, pale ass little motherfucker who is trying
damn,
so fucking hard to come off as intimidating, and I just don't buy it at all.
damn.
I
Tell us how
mean,
you really
it's
feel.
it's literally like that meme where it's like the Chad whatever versus the Virgin whatever. Hamish Linklater is the Chad, and the guy that portrayed the actual Godolkin is the Virgin.
God damn, Jesus Christ. All right, well, I got nothing to add to that. What else do we watch besides The Boys? Or was that
That's
it?
the whole list, man. All of the Alien movies, the two that we watched last night, the Lost Bus, that the Platonic episodes, that covers everything, man.
All right, well, I guess I have nothing more to talk about. If you don't, we can get right into questions then.
Well, I mean, we do like to kind of include other things other than just what we watched in this section, like what we played or what we listened to or whatever, or just what we experienced in general.
Yeah.
And I have had a lot of fun playing Pokemon Legends ZA again this week. Um, it Pokemon Legends ZA will always go down in my personal life as the game that got me to think differently about Pokemon, because I have literally always had a very one-track mind playing Pokemon of like, what can I get that goes first and one-hit KOs everything. And Pokemon Legends ZA, because of the reworked battle system, it's almost impossible to guarantee that you're going to be able to hit your opponent before they hit you every single battle. So it's caused me to really think about both the offensive abilities and the defensive abilities of Pokemon in a way that I never really have before. And it's led to me doing a whole bunch of work in terms of like collect data collection and kind of piecing puzzle pieces together on a team that has perfect coverage on every type. And when I say perfect coverage, I don't just mean hit super effectively. I mean both hit super effectively and resists at the same time. And it's also because I sort of did that project as a baseline for just Pokemon Legends ZA. Now I'm wanting to go back and use that information to build teams for every Pokemon game from the very beginning. And it's an exciting new horizon for my sort of experience as a Pokemon fan personally.
I think that's beautiful.
I've also been playing some Madden, specifically Madden 12 for PSP, because I got a gaming handheld that I absolutely love. It is a dual screen OLED handheld, and the top screen is 16 by 9, which is the exact aspect ratio that the PSP uses. So the top screen is perfect for PSP games. And I will literally just turn the bottom screen off. And dude, I got to tell you, this thing with a PSP game running on the top screen and with the brightness of the top screen at like high as even like 70%. This thing is, I guarantee you this thing would get at least 15 hours of battery life. It is incredible.
God damn.
Yeah, with a PSP game running on the top
Yeah,
screen. It's crazy.
that's one.
Yeah, the battery life on this thing is unbelievable. I have never seen it go below 60%. And that is despite the fact that I've had gaming sessions on it as long as like 7 hours.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Um, but I've been playing Madden 12 for PSP, and I've been doing the franchise mode and kind of having fun with that. I know you and I have been doing our usual Brawlhalla stuff. We did. I think we might have played Rocket League this past week, but we might not have. I don't know 100%.
I don't think we did, but we did achieve 2-notch plat in Brawlhalla, which I'm very proud of. We're
That
probably going
was
to lose it
just
very
last
quickly.
night. Yeah, we kicked
Yeah.
ass in Brawlhalla last night.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to lose it quickly because when that elo gets high, I mean, Jesus Christ.
We
But
get our
we
asses
achieved
kicked.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we achieved it, and that's
yeah,
objectively true, and we have it on record. So
yeah.
there you go.
And then in terms
Yeah.
of music, I don't think that I've really gotten into anything new, but this has been a week where I have been absolutely obsessed with Noah Kahan's song Stick Season. I know I brought that up to you last night, but you said you never heard it before, so I just kind of moved on. By God, that's such a good song though, and it's gotten me in the mood to listen to more folk music. So like, it's got me listening to wanting. It's got me wanting to listen to stuff like Mumford and Sons and like Philip Phillips and stuff along those lines. And it's kind of one of those. It's probably because of the time of year because it is October and that's kind of it kind of fits that time of year for me.
Yeah, the only new music I did listen to, I should walk you guys through this. So I'm watching a highlight video of Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns from Money in the Bank 2016. Great match, by the way. And yeah, so I'm playing in the background. I was vibing with it so hard. Turns out it was the grunge metal band Super Heaven
Yeah,
and the song called Youngest Daughter, which I gotta tell you guys, I listened to it the first time. That shit transported me back to like a ruthless aggression era
2003.
pay-per-view. Yeah, totally. And it was a song made in 2013 though. And that's the crazy
Yeah,
thing. Like it has that old sound, and I mean that in the best way, but it's actually not that old in the grand scheme of things.
yeah.
So yeah, I
It's a
took a
pretty good song though. I liked it. I heard it. I really the initial vibe is literally just like every late 90s grunge band. I listed Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and Stone Temple Pilots. But the
yeah.
longer I listened to it, the more I realized this is literally what Stained would sound if they just had a different singer other than Aaron Lewis.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Like the
go.
music is
And
exactly Stained coded.
yeah, I mean, and Stain disappointed me recently because apparently the lead singer has like MAGA politics or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
where he's like
No,
weird against
Aaron
the left.
Lewis is a real piece of shit.
Yeah, that's really a shame because I actually do love, well, the two typical Stain songs, "So Far Away" and then, oh God, "It's Been a While." So, oh,
It's
and
been a
also,
while is so funny because it's been a while is literally a guy basically confessing his mistakes in life and trying to like own up to that and be accountable. And now the guy that sang that song is MAGA.
yeah, yeah, it hurts me. I also enjoy the song "Price to Play," which that I learned that because of Vengeance, WWE Vengeance. I want to say
Nice.
2003.
Nice. Was that
Um,
PS2?
no, that was a WWE pay-per-view. And then I don't know if the song
Oh.
ever made it into any of the games. Yeah, that was main evented by Brock Lesnar versus Big Show versus Kurt Angle for the WWE
Oh my
title.
god. Talk about a clash of
And
titans. Sheesh.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, that song stuck in my mind. I'll never forget that when I first got my laptop and I realized, oh my God, I could listen to songs on this. I tried hunting that down. And then there was another song that I was obsessed with. And I figured out that the one was Stained, again, Price to Play. And then the other one was Default, Wasting My Time, which I remember being hooked on when I first
Dude,
heard
I
it on the
fucking
radio.
love that song.
That song is fucking amazing.
Default has like 3 or 4 songs that I was obsessed with when I was a teenager.
Yes, yes.
The other one
Yeah,
was they had a song, I think it's called like I'll Be There For You or something like that that I was absolutely obsessed with at the time.
yeah. I mean, it hits the ear right, brother. And so
Didn't
yes,
Default also or no, you know what? I'm thinking of Mercy Drive. Never mind. I was gonna ask if Default also did Maven's theme, but no, that was Mercy Drive.
yes, yes. Um, and so yeah, Super Heaven, they really brought me back to that kind of sound, that kind of magic of when I first fell in love with music through wrestling. as a kid. And I listened to a few more of their songs on that same album that Youngest Daughter came from called Jar. They're okay. I don't want to give up on them because even if this is a band where I only like two or three of their songs, they're two or
That's
three
a nice
really good
addition to
songs.
the rotation, right?
Exactly, and they're really good songs. Even if it's just
Yeah,
this one song, Youngest Daughter, I'm happy that I know about them.
yeah,
And they're apparently really successful because they also give kind of an indie vibe, but no, they are very popular and very successful within their genre. So
yeah.
that's really the extent of the music that's like new or worth talking about
Oh yeah.
that I've listened to this week.
There was one
Yeah.
song I wanted to bring up. It's called Sugar, but it's not the Maroon 5 song Sugar. I hate that song. No, it's by All Time Low, which is a pop punk band that most people know of because they did a song Dear Maria Count Me In that everyone loved.
Yes.
And then but the thing is this song is it's them featuring JoJo. And this is the JoJo that like people know from like the early 2000s who did Leave, Get Out and Too Little Too Late, JoJo Levesque,
Oh wow. Okay.
and she sounds fantastic on the track. I haven't heard anything from her since those two songs, but she sounds great on this All Time Low song, and I love the collab. I noticed that some of my favorite All Time Low songs ever are collabs with female artists because I think my number one song they've ever done, my favorite song that All Time Low's ever done, is Remembering Sunday, which features Juliet Sims, who was on The Voice season 2, I want to say, or 3. It might have been 2.
Ah, okay.
She is awesome, and she was fantastic on that song. I get goosebumps at her part every time I hear that song. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the only other music stuff I'd report on is Polo G came out with two songs. I think he's got an album on the way,
Polo
and
G. Why do
so
I know that name?
I know I've shared a few of his rap songs in the
That's why.
past.
That's why.
Yeah, I used to really like him. I still like the stuff that I like, a lot, but a
Yeah.
lot of the newer stuff, I mean, it's good bars probably, and that's the thing. Maybe I don't have as deep a appreciation of technicians as I thought I did, but he does have an album coming out. I do plan on checking it out, and I'll kind of revise or just reassess my opinion of Polo G then. But yeah, that's it musically, and I think that's just it in general. So should we get to questions?
Hell yeah. Let's get to questions. I didn't actually record them this week because it was only Super Blue asking. So I'm just gonna pull up our Q&A questions channel, and there's only 4 of them from Super Blue, and he's typing, so he's probably gonna put a 5th one in. But first
Yeah.
one up. How do you feel about Jay Uso cheating Jimmy Uso to win the Royal Rumble, to Battle Royal?
Fuck Jimmy Uso, but Raw definitely needs a more robust main event scene. Jay's feeling pretty tired.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, pretty much same. Pretty much agree word for word. Second question from Super Blue: when is LA Knight going to stop getting screwed out of winning the world title? I honestly
when
don't
he
want to
gets the
justify
stick out of
this
his
with an
ass.
answer, but go for it.
Yeah, when he gets the stick out of his ass. That's my answer to that question. Next question.
If Jay loses to CM Punk at Saturday Night Main Event, which we all expect to happen, do you see him joining Division? Obviously not. No. What do you mean?
No, 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 absolutely not. Next question.
Division would dissolve before they'd let Jay Uso lead them. What the hell?
Exactly.
Question 4: how do you feel about Andrade's contract situation?
I hope he beats WWE
Yeah.
because I
Dude,
really don't even
I saw
yeah.
a report this past week, and I'm so glad he asked this question because it gives me a chance to talk about this. I saw a report this last week that apparently WWE is attempting to use this contract situation to re-sign Andrade.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
That would be the first time ever that somebody went from WWE to AEW, back to WWE, back to AEW, back to WWE.
Yeah. And
He
also
made
what
an
you could
appearance, dude. He was on Dynamite. He was going against Kenny Omega and everything. And then the
yeah,
contract shit came out.
yeah. And it's like, oh fuck. But no, I know Otunga did a video on this, which unfortunately I didn't watch, but I think he was saying like, a court would side pretty easily with Andrade because asking somebody not to earn a livelihood for that period of time is insane, right? And like, I even think 90 days is too fucking much, especially in
Dude,
this economy. Are you
the thing
fucking
is,
kidding me?
that's the
Like,
thing. They're independent fucking contractors. What does the WWE expect them to do? Go become used car salesmen for a year and then get into
ex-
AEW? Like, what the fuck, you, dude?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Like, you're literally siphoning these people off from making any viable livelihood. And I just think that's fucking grotesque and insidious. So that's all I'm going to say about that without getting redundant. Next question.
Uh, next question. I'm gonna say, let's see. Is that all of Super Blues? That's all of Super Blues until very, very recently, the last couple minutes. So let's get into chat questions. Castlevania, did you watch Late Night with the Devil?
Actually, I can speed this up. So Caster Sales asked the following questions. Question one, did you watch Late Night with the Devil? Question two, did you watch John Carpenter's Vampires? Question three, did you watch Noroi, The Curse? Question four, did you play Bloodburn? Question five, did you play Castlevania? Question six, did you play Resident Evil? And for me, all those questions are no.
Okay.
So it's a no for me.
I can say I don't know what some of these things are. I've never heard of Late Night with the Devil, Noroi the Curse, Bloodburn. Actually, that's it. I've never heard of those things. But I have played Castlevania before. I've played Castlevania. I can't tell you the exact titles because the titles kind of run together. But I've played Castlevania on the NES. I've played Castlevania on the Super Nintendo, and I've played Castlevania on Game Boy Advance. And I own Castlevania for all of those, plus a bunch of other shit like PlayStation and DS and shit like that. So
And since yeah,
I would like to get more into the Castlevania franchise because I love the genre Metroidvanias, which is derived from both Metroid and Castlevania. But
and
I
yeah,
am way more interested in getting more into the Metroid franchise than the Castlevania franchise. So even if I do make the decision to do like a big like Metroidvania binge, it would be Metroid over Castlevania for me.
and my sister only played Silent Hill 2 to answer that question that
Oh
he
yeah,
asked most
I've
recently.
played Resident Evil for the PlayStation 1 when I was like fucking 12, 11, and I played it. Get this. This is a true story. When I was like 11 or 12 years old, and really I shouldn't specify that very specific age because this happened often, almost every year when I was a young, kid to tween to early teens, my dad would throw family reunion parties at his house because he had a huge yard and he had this beautiful like um paved not paved flattened out area in some woods that he got this really big area where it was totally flattened out, and he had a fire pit and he had a hammock and benches around the fire pit, and it was just really really nice to just go there and just kind of hang out. And plus he had a yard on top of that that had a fire pit in its own right, that had a trampoline and all this fun stuff. And every year he would throw this big family reunion party. And a lot of the time, because I didn't fucking know anyone, I wouldn't want to be there. So one year he said, listen, your friend, and this is me talking about a neighbor that I was friends with at his house, can come over and you two can hang out and play PlayStation, but you got to be outside. So he set up a tent with a table with the TV on it close enough to an outside power cable cord attachment thing that it was actually able to reach. So we were literally able to play PlayStation on a TV outside in a fucking tent, and we played Resident Evil in the dark, and it was terrifying.
God damn.
Yeah. I still remember that, and it was one of those things too, where like each time one of us would die, we would hand the controller off to the other to see how far we could get, that kind of thing. And I'll never forget. I don't know the exact point in the game because I haven't played a Resident Evil game since this point, which would have been over 20 years ago. But would. I feel like we had this weird point in the game where we both started really struggling to cross a bridge because there were so many. I don't know if they were monsters or zombies or whatever the fuck, and it was just too condensed, and we just neither one of us could figure out how to cross this bridge. And it was just that's like my most sort of like entrenched memory in my brain of that experience.
All right. Yeah, I think. Do we want
We
to get
have
to
more
Super?
questions in the Discord. Question 5 from Super Blue: how do you feel about Kendall Gray becoming the women's evolve champion and facing Lash next week? Gray defended Ren backstage this week on NXT.
I'm happy for Kendall Gray. I think she's a tremendous athlete, and you know what? I think there's a voice in there as far as promos go. I don't think she's a great promo yet.
Yeah.
Might be the weakest part of her game, but there is a personality there, and that I find more fascinating in the long term. So I think it's cool. And Lash, I've been wanting to see Lash get pushed forever, so I think a match between those two should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That definitely made me smile. So
I'm
yeah.
curious what they're going to do with Callie Armstrong though, because her kind of being at the top of Evolve. while Kendall got kind of quote unquote called up to NXT, made sense to me. But now they put the title on Kendall. Kendall is doing stuff with No Quarter Catch Crew, with Charlie and with Ren. And Callie doesn't really have anything to do. So I'm hoping that this doesn't lead to Callie Armstrong getting released. But I am wondering what they're going to do with her next. If she's going to be on NXT, if they're going to skip NXT and send her straight to one of the main shows, which I think would be a huge mistake because she's definitely not on that level yet, especially on the mic. Um, Callie Armstrong is a mystery to me. I'm also really confused by their decision to have Lash Legend, of all people, go against Kendall Gray. Is that going to be for the Evolve Women's Championship? Because if it is, I 100% expect Lash to win, and I find that really odd.
It is going to be for the championship, yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
really weird to me because Lash, to me, and I think to a lot of people, feels like someone who could be competing for, you know, the WWE Women's Championship with Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton, not literally like the seventh seventh most important women's singles championship in the company. Lash Legend is a fucking star, and like I think Kendall Gray has the stuff to be a star for sure. She's incredibly talented. She has a great look. She's athletic. She has a history in amateur wrestling. Like there are a lot of great things that are going in favor of Kendall Gray, but like she's been here for so little time, and Lash has been here since like 2021, so 5 years at this point, or 4 years at this point, and it just feels like there's nothing left for Lash to do in NXT, and she should be getting called up. And now they're like, it feels like they're almost demoting her, having her go after the Evolve Women's Championship, and that's just so weird to me.
I can definitely be sympathetic to your viewpoint for sure. I think it's still going to be a really fun match, but yeah, I want to see Lash really move up in the world because it really seems like it's start and stop with her because she had that whole program with Nia too, where even though she didn't beat Nia one on one, which I mean I disagree with, but I'm heavily biased. Lash did look good in that feud, and but then she did the stuff with oh God, I'm blanking on her name. Oh geez. Jada Parker. Jada
Oh,
Parker. There we go. I got it. I got it.
I thought
Uh,
that was the other way around. I thought the Jada stuff came before the Nia stuff, but I could be wrong.
I thought they came after. You know what though? I could be wrong. Either way,
Dude, you
it
pay more
just
attention to the product than me, rest assured.
yeah. But I mean, it just seems like start and stop with her, and I would just like it to be start and not stop, and keep that momentum going. So we'll see. And then I know Rotten Butter asked a question. And this is just for me. He said, "How would you feel if your heroes didn't like your penis?" That depends. I'm sure
Is
there's
that
one.
supposed to be a reference to something?
I mean, I don't know. I don't
I mean,
know.
it's weird because he specified you, which tells me that it's a reference to something that he knows that you have both watched.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm off my gourd right now, but I got it actually. I would feel self-conscious about it and then probably spiral out in a rage where hopefully a loving wife would come home like the size of my penis, and then we go and we raise her family together. Beautiful thing. Yes.
Apparently,
Smiling
it's a
friends.
Smiling Friends reference. Okay, there you go.
Yes, ending of this latest episode. Ron Butter, I should let you know, I've also been on the Smiling Friends subreddit. Beautiful community, honestly. I haven't seen anything toxic yet.
Wow,
It's beautiful. Yeah, I
that's
know.
surprising.
It's what a world. What a world. Smiling Friends leading the way to the society we should all live in. But yeah, any other questions, guys?
I think that covers everything that
Oh,
we've
I think
got.
so. Really did ask for high spots and low shots in life this week.
Oh yeah, I think
Um,
that's just like a part of the show, though. That's not like you don't have to ask for that. We're just going to do that every week.
yeah, that's fair. So I guess let's get into that segment. Low shot. I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, God, there are two really big low shots I could take. I'm going to take the one, though, that seems more authentic to my interests historically. I'm going to say my low shot in life is Venezuela. The U.S. is definitely looking to wage war with Venezuela for imperialist dominance, over oil and possibly petroleum. And the biggest thing, the New York Times even admitted as much, regime change, getting the Maduro government uninstalled, installing a new government of a puppet president that serves U.S. interests. It is a scary time for Venezuela. It's been a scary time for a lot of countries whose name comes out of Trump's mouth. And I don't really know if we're prepared for what's coming next because this isn't just war, which is bad enough and inhumane enough. It is war under Pete Hegseth. God help us. So yes, Venezuela is my low shot in life this week, unfortunately. Who is your low shot in life?
Since we're just talking about this week and not the grand scheme of things, my low shot this week is Nazis because they are losing hard on several different fronts. Um, the Nazis who are part of ICE, which is all of them, all of ICE is Nazis, are losing hard, especially in Chicago and New York. They are getting a lot of people refusing to cooperate with them. I saw an article, or it might have been a video. I think it was actually a video of someone recently who, I believe it was either a laundromat or some kind of restaurant, literally locking ICE out of the building so that they couldn't get in. I've seen several images or videos of protesters and people protecting their fellow civilians from ICE this week. And there was literally a video of a dude who dressed up like a literal Nazi soldier and punched a woman in the face, and he's facing charges for that. He got kicked out of a bar and then punched a woman in the face, and he's facing charges for that. So the Nazis are fucking losing, and it's great to see.
Absolutely. And when it comes to high spot, let me think here. You know what? You went with a really beautiful route with your low shot, and I really appreciate you for that. So I'm going to carry my share of load. I'm going to say my high spot is Zoran Mamdani, who I'm proud of TWitWoW for being a podcast that can properly pronounce the man's name. And to be fair, even if one of us mispronounced it, me, we'd have the humility to acknowledge it and try again until we show the respect that a mayoral candidate deserves. Seems like Cuomo cannot get his name right, nor can Sliwa, the conservative
What are
candidate
these
who
guys?
I
How are these guys fucking up Zoran's name? What are they calling him?
uh, 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 the Cuomo I think calls him Mamdami. So like rather than yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I don't even know how Sliwa screws it up, but I know he mispronounced it at a recent mayoral
Is that a
debate.
Freudian slip? Is Cuomo a sub?
Wow. I don't know. Possibly. But yeah, credit to Sliwa at least, despite being the conservative candidate. The Cuomo campaign asked him to drop out, and he's like, "No, go buy your own votes. You're not getting my votes. You're not siphoning off my votes. There are people that really supported my campaign and believed in me. You know, the working class, not billionaires who voted for you." So Cuomo's being attacked on both directions. Granted, so is Zoran, but he is pulling strong according to the data. I know it's never over till it's
Yeah, the
over.
last poll that I saw had him at over 50% of the total vote.
Yeah, it is insane. It is insane. He's killing it right now. So Zoran Mamdani is my pick because again, I have my suspicions of him. I'm a far leftist. I don't think we're going to be solved or we're going to be saved through electoral means. That's just always been my position, even before Trump 2.0. You can go back on the record. I'm pretty sure I've said it before. But I do think it would be a major symbolic victory, symbolic of the fact that people are rejecting far right austerity, far right faux populist politics, and are becoming more left wing. How far left wing? I mean, I'm pessimistic about that, but it'll certainly be further left than what we've been dealing with the past few decades. So Zoran is my high spot. Who is your high spot?
Oh, that's a harder one, honestly. I feel like there are fewer instances of obvious like wins than there are instances of the obvious losses that the Nazis have been having lately. Um, high spot. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't have to be politics related. So, fuck it. I will go lighthearted, and I'll give my high spot to Tatum Paxley for winning the NXT Women's Championship.
Dreams do come true at Halloween Havoc. Yes, congratulations to Tatum. I like that pick. So yeah, with that said, thank you guys so much for joining us. Please leave a like, share, loud, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications. So saying that 12 goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all AWC. And we will see you guys again. Hopefully, maybe Wednesday for Muddy Gold. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be longer than that because this was their big show. But we'll probably be seeing you guys at some point next week. Probably maybe Stardom Thursday for recap 7 p.m. We'll let you guys know. We'll keep you updated in the Discord. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend, all you football fans. I hope Sunday Night Football is a good one tomorrow, and or really just all Sunday football in general. Hope it's a good one. And yeah, until then, tune in. Peace out.